Tractate Pesachim, Chapter 5, General Introduction, Part 2. Number 3, disqualifications and invalidations. A great number of conditions and circumstances can disqualify or invalidate an offering. A number of these come up repeatedly in the following chapters. Some of the disqualifications relate to the animal, some to the person performing the sacrificial service, and others to the way in which the offering is made or the intent he had while making the offering. A. Disqualifications of the person. All the avodos, sacrificial services, besides slaughtering the animal, must be performed by a Kohen. The Kohen must be completely tahor, i.e. not tameh in the slightest degree. If any of these avodos are performed by a non-Kohen, or by a Kohen who has in any degree tameh, they are invalid. These disqualifications do not apply to the slaughter of an animal offering, which may be slaughtered even by disqualified persons. B. Animals not permitted as offerings. There are numerous factors that disqualify an animal from becoming an offering. The most common of these is a mum, blemish. It is forbidden even to consecrate a blemished animal as an offering. See Leviticus chapter 22, verses 20 and 22. If the blemish was a temporary one, the animal may not be consecrated and offered after the blemish has healed. If the blemish was a temporary one, the animal may be consecrated and offered after the blemish was healed. C. Invalidations due to improper intent. Certain improper intentions invalidate an offering if they are expressed during any of the 4 essential blood services of the offering. There are 4 improper intentions that affect all offerings, and an additional 2 that are unique to the Pesach offering. These are: 1. Not for its own sake. An offering is supposed to be brought for the sake of the type of offering for which it is designated. For example, an olah for the sake of an olah. If an offering is brought for the sake of a designation other than its own, for example, an olah for the sake of shlamim, the owner does not fulfill his obligation with it. Nevertheless, the offering itself remains valid. Thus, its service is completed, its sacrificial parts are burned on the altar, and its meat is eaten. There are 2 exceptions to this rule: the chatas and Pesach offerings. If either of these is intended for any designation but its own, it is completely invalidated. 2. Not for the sake of its owner. An offering is also supposed to be offered for the sake of the person for whom it was designated, i.e. its owner. If it was offered for the sake of someone else, the owner does not fulfill his obligation with it, but the offering remains valid. Here too, the chatas and Pesach offerings are exceptions in that they are totally invalidated. 3. Pigul. If the person performing the 4 essential blood services intends during those actions that the offering should be eaten beyond the time allowed for it, or that its blood or sacrificial parts be placed on the altar beyond the time allowed for them, the offering is immediately invalidated. The service is discontinued, the sacrificial parts are not placed on the altar, and the meat is not eaten. If the service is completed, despite this invalidation, the meat becomes forbidden under the penalty of kares. See Leviticus chapter 7, verse 18. This invalidation is known as pigul, literally rejected. Number 4, outside its place. Similar to pigul is the invalidation for intending that the offering be eaten or burned outside of its assigned place. This intention also immediately invalidates the offering. However, there is no kares penalty attached to eating its meat as there is in the case of pigul. These last 2 intentions invalidate the offering even if they are never fulfilled. The mere intention to do these things invalidates them. 5. For those who are unable to eat it. The 4 improper intentions mentioned so far apply to all offerings. The Pesach offering, however, is unique in that it is brought for the purpose of being eaten by its owners. See Mishnah chapter 7, Mishnah 4. Accordingly, a Pesach offering is invalidated if it is slaughtered for the sake of people, all of whom are incapable of eating at least one kazayas of it, e.g. the elderly or the sick, or people who are all prohibited from eating it, e.g. the uncircumcised or tameh people. Intending a Pesach for those who are unable to eat it invalidates it only during the slaughter of the offering. See the Mishnah in chapter 5, Mishnah 3. 6. For those who did not register on it. Another special requirement in regard to the Pesach is that it be slaughtered for the sake of those who registered in advance to eat from it. If the one who slaughtered it intended to do so for the sake of people who had not registered for it, the Pesach is invalid. Like the previous intention, this intention invalidates the offering only during its slaughter. D. Invalidations of sacrificial parts. The disqualifications and invalidations discussed to this point are those that affect the offering as a whole. It goes without saying that in these cases, all parts of the offering, blood, sacrificial parts, meat, are disqualified. Once the offering has been slaughtered, the various parts of the offering become susceptible to 3 additional invalidations. These are yotze, leaving its designated area; tuma, becoming contaminated with tuma; lina, being left past its time. The invalidation of the meat, sacrificial parts, or even a part of the blood does not invalidate the offering as a whole. As long as blood has been applied properly to the altar, the offering is valid, and only the part of the offering that went out of its designated area or becomes tameh becomes invalid. These invalidations apply to all offerings, not just the Pesach. However, here too, the Pesach is subject to a unique rule, which will be explained in Mishnah in chapter 7, Mishnah 5. Part 4, the Pesach service. There are a number of additional laws that are unique to the Pesach service. We offer a brief list of these here. They will become more fully explained in the chapters that follow. A. Time of the offering. Unlike other offerings, which can be slaughtered at any time of the day, and whose meat is eaten throughout the day and the night, the Pesach offering is slaughtered specifically on the afternoon of the 14th of Nisan, Erev Pesach. Exodus chapter 12, verse 6. And its meat is not eaten until that night. See verse 8 there. Even during that night, the meat may be eaten only until midnight. According to one Tana, this deadline is a biblical law. It is also forbidden to offer a Pesach while the person doing the offering or one of the people registered on the offering has chametz in his possession. See Exodus chapter 34, verse 25. B. Eating the Pesach meat. The Pesach offering is eaten by all Jews who are tahor, male and female, at the Seder. Besides the mitzvah to bring the Pesach offering, there is a mitzvah to eat its meat. See Exodus chapter 12, verse 8. To be eligible to eat, one must register for a specific offering before it is slaughtered. See the Mishnah in chapter 8, Mishnah 3. One who is not registered for the offering may not eat from it. See the Mishnah in chapter 9, Mishnah 9. A person may not eat his portion in 2 places. See Exodus chapter 12, verse 46, and the Mishnah in chapter 7, Mishnah 13. There is also specific prohibition for an uncircumcised man, arel, to eat from the Pesach offering. See Exodus chapter 12, Mishnah verse 48. Moreover, even a person who is himself circumcised, but who has failed to circumcise his sons or his male slaves, is forbidden to eat from a Pesach offering. See verses 44 and 48 there. Unlike other offerings, whose meat may be prepared in any fashion, the Pesach offering must be roasted over a fire. It may not be cooked, etc., nor may it be eaten raw. See verse 9 there. There is also prohibition to break any of its bones. See verse 46 there. C. Making the offering in a state of tuma. An individual who is tameh may not bring the Pesach offering. However, if the majority of the community is tameh as a result of corpse tuma, tumas meis, the community does make the offering in a state of tuma. In that case, even those who are tahir join those who are tameh and make their offering in tuma. See Mishnah in chapter 7, Mishnah 6. D. Pesach Sheni. The obligation to bring a Pesach offering is a positive commandment, and is one of only 2 positive commandments for which a person who fails to perform them is subject to the penalty of karas, the other circumcision. However, the Torah provides a substitute day for those who could not offer the Pesach in its proper time. This offering on the afternoon of the 14th of Iyar, known as Pesach Sheni, the second Pesach offering. This is discussed in chapter 9.